Hey everyone, Edmund Bogan with REIGNation. You can see it right up there. We are a mastermind group for people in real estate all over the country. I've got a group of people here. We're going to be talking about self-confidence in business. And I want to just bring this full circle here. Most of you go to work with a certain amount of head trash, right? Okay, maybe you won't admit it. But for those of you that have the courage to admit it, here's the thing. A lot of people are walking in the same steps. We've got a group of people here we're going to discuss it with. I'm going to pick on my buddy Victor, who's out in California. Victor, yeah, he's why am I picking on you?
You can pick on me. You pick on me all the time.
Victor, share with me your thoughts on this. How important do you think self-esteem is to the realtor?
I mean, it's more it's self-esteem and clarity. I mean, it's okay to have some self-doubt if you can figure out what the path is to work around it.
Okay.
There's always, we all have doubts or we all have, my biggest was probably perfectionist tendencies that get in the way. I want it to be right, and that slows me down. And sometimes you have to figure out how to work around that. So it's just about sometimes it's attitude, but sometimes it's also just about figuring out the direction that you need to go in.
Okay. Good stuff. We're going to bring a couple people into the Dina, can I pick on you? Maybe Dina Ulrich. Okay.
I was just unmuting.
Okay, good. So, taking the topic a little bit further, have you had circumstances that you think you're more comfortable in? Because what I want to talk with this group about is how do we actually replicate that feeling, that time that you're able to actually manufacture it? Are there times that you're better in the selling process? And when are they? I'm expecting that question.
Yeah. No. It's definitely when I'm in my comfort zone and I feel like I know the neighborhood, I know the product that I'm dealing with 100%. It's my comfort zone for sure. I will tell you right now, I just got a phone call that I missed, and I have to call him back right after this, from someone who is looking to spend much more than I have ever done on a deal on my own. And I'm a little bit nervous. So I was really happy to have this conversation right now.
So that's great. We're talking about an extra zero or an extra,
Yeah.
Like, okay.
That guy just called me about a property that I had sent. And he's like, hey, look, there was a price drop. And I'm sitting here thinking, I think I have a little bit of what Victor was talking about, of the perfectionist syndrome, where I'm nervous that he's going to ask me a question and I'm not going to know the answer. So I have to do a ton of research before I call him back. And I'm not sure that that's the right way to go. I think he would like to just hear from me and know that I'm on top of it and I prioritize him. I don't need to know every property that sold along the beach in Florida in the last year. I need to call him back.
So here's
as long as he knows you know how to find your find. As long as you can, just let him know that you know how to find the information he needs, and that you're the expert at finding out those things. Then you're fine, because you already have the knowledge in the general sense.
Yes.
If you stop and think about it just for a second, you can anticipate most of the questions that are going to come to you. Life is a series of following the same patterns over and over again. And the questions that this person is likely going to have, you can figure out 95% of that. So what you really ought to do is make an exhaustive list of where those questions may be, but then you're going to do something else. And this is something that I'm recommending to everybody who's watching this podcast or listening to this podcast right now. You're going to stop and learn the word pivot. When somebody throws something at you that you don't understand, you need to pivot. You need to pivot onto something that takes you away from the topic or gives you some type of break. Dina, want to have any ideas of what your pivots are?
I'm actually trying to think of one as we're speaking, and I'm not sure which way to go, but what I do know is I do know the history of the property in which he's interested. I know what I'm not 100% sure of is where it should be priced. And I know that's all he's going to want to talk about. He's somebody who is always interested in the deal, always wants to, it's all a numbers game to him. He wants something that's a great deal. So I need to be prepared with that type. Those are the questions he's going to be asking me. That's the type of information he's going to want.
So the good
It just
work-
had, this is a property that he liked that had a
Oh,
price
God.
drop. That's why I reached out to him. He immediately called me back and is like, call me.
the good work pivot. Okay, let's make a few of these pivots. What is the good work
Yes.
pivot? The good work is, well, this guy, how much is the property?
Right now it's 17.5. It
17
just dropped. It originally was at 24.5, then dropped to 19.5. Now it's at 17.5.
And for those that don't understand, $17,500,000, right? Okay.
Yes,
I think you're a little overwhelmed by that number.
I am.
So here's the pivot. The pivot is, look, you know, you're 100% right. Look at that. The price came down. Let's see how flexible that is. I need to find out a little bit more about the owner. What do you think about that? I need to find a little bit more about the neighbors of what's going on. This is a property that it's great. Tell me what your concerns are. Again, thinking about this, bring it up before they actually do, and you're going to be in a position of superiority. You're going to be able to get them to have a much greater understanding. So that's one pivot that you're able to do. What else? Here's somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer to. Who wants to have a go at that? It could be either Victor or Linda. Any one of you could actually throw that out. I just asked you something about something that you don't know. What is the pivot for that?
I don't know, but but I can tell you in half an hour because I'm connected to most of the top experts in the region.
Fantastic. What if that happens multiple times? Anyone want to have a guess? Now you keep saying, oh, I need to check. I need to check. Is that a bad thing? Maybe.
It's not great.
It's not
It
great.
depends.
But what
You
can
should,
we do
you
to
should
remedy
already
it?
be preparing.
What could we do to remedy the situation? Any thoughts?
Prepare.
Bring up the stuff that
Research.
you do know.
That's
Yeah.
what I was going to say.
You
Talk
need
about,
Thank you, Linda. I've been waiting for you. Yes, you need to bring up the stuff that you do know, correct them and make them get this. I don't necessarily know that, but let me tell you what we do know. And you go on with that. So Dina, your initial thought of being able to research all this, that's fantastic. But just research the pivots as well. That's the message in this podcast today. If you could really stop and think through where the objections are and where your vulnerabilities are, you could begin to build a bridge around those things. Nobody's perfect and nobody's expecting you to, but have the focus on the client and have the focus on the, where your pivot points are, and you're going to be much, much better off. Everyone going into these meetings should. Victor, please.
I want to go back to something you said earlier, and 90% of the questions that you are going to be asked in all of the various transactions and meetings you're going to have, if it's related to real estate and the sales side, you are going to get the same questions 90% of the time.
Yes.
And you really only have to be ready to pivot and answer those 10% that are out of the 90%. You're going to be asked the same questions all the time on almost every meeting you're ever going to take. So you don't have to stress about those. You only have to think a little bit about the ones that are going to be outside the box once in a while.
Sure. Make the list. We will add that to the private REIGNation Facebook page. For those of you who are watching, this is REIGNation. We are a real estate mastermind group. We have people from literally all over the world now, actually. 26 different states are represented. We have Reykjavik, Iceland. We have 2 people in Portugal. We've got someone in Jerusalem. We've got people in the UK. And I'd love to have you, if you'd like to learn more, please do give us a call. Victor and everyone who is sticking around extra for this, I'm grateful. Anybody have any final thoughts before we sign off here?
Thank you. Thank you.
Are we supposed to be brilliant now? Uh-oh.
Me laugh.
Honestly, Victor, you are brilliant. We all know that. Thank you all so much for coming. Again, we have 6 meetings per month. Our next meeting is going to be on Friday. That is November, March 1st, November. We'll see where my mind is. Friday, March 1st, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And after that, we normally meet on Wednesday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have questions, do reach out to me. And I look forward to seeing all of you here at REIGNation.